Hello there, I'm Skia, and I'm playing through every Pokemon game in a marathon I'm calling a Pokémon-a-thon. As I play through each game, any Pokemon, including HM users, can only be used in one game. In Red version, we use these Pokemon. And now we're on to Pokemon Blue. For the rest of the rules, fainted Pokemon must be released like a nuzlocke, no items in battle except for Pokeballs, no major glitches, and we're playing on hardware, so no speed-ups or cheats. I'm also trying to stick to gym leader levels as a cap, but this isn't a strict rule, and we break it for one gym because I wasn't really paying attention to it. In Red, we named ourselves Red, and here in Blue, well...
I'm afraid I just blew myself.
For our rival, who better than the hero of Part 1, Red?
Red 2, standing by.
As always, we start off in Pallet Town, and Professor Oak yells at us. We follow the old man to his laboratory to see his pets. And he gives us a Squirtle. We name it Perf, because he is. Just look at this little guy. What a cutie. Red takes Bulbasaur, and we begin our first of many battles. Perf shows his superiority as we win the fight. Red sulks, and then goes on his way. We make our way to Viridian City and pick up the package, and then do our best impression of the Skyrim courier to deliver this to Oak, his hands only. As a reward, we get our Pokedex, and this challenge can begin. Our first major battle is with Brock in Pewter City. We go in under Brock's levels, so we need to employ the expert level technique of clicking bubble 4 times. It's risky, but it works, and we end up the victor. As a reward, we get our first badge and the TM for Bide, which as usual, I sold for pocket change. I know another Pokemon I want to use on the team, but I've got Kanto remakes on the brain and forgot that this is available west of Viridian City and not on Route 3. So we make the arduous trek back through Viridian Forest to catch a female Nidoran. We name her Slay, because, yes, Slay Queen. While heading back to Mount Moon, Perf defeats a Jigglypuff.
Pokemon Trainer!
You all did great!
And evolves into Wartortle. In Mount Moon, we continue to level Slay and Perf. When Slay reaches level 15, we use a rare candy to hit 16 and evolve into Nidorina. In the same menu, we then use a Moonstone to get Nidoqueen. Nidorina is still open for future use, if need be. But now we have Nidoqueen! Once we get the Dig TM in Cerulean, we'll be set for a long time. The Super Nerd fight is easy, like it was in Red, since we once again have a fully evolved Pokemon early in the game. But even without a super effective move, Slay takes down Grimer, Voltorb, and Coughing. After the battle, I take the Dome Fossil. It doesn't matter, but MDB says it's important to tell you which one I take. Unlike the Red run, I don't rush into fighting Misty, instead opting to go for the rival fight first. Perf is going to more or less have to take Misty alone, so I'll want to get some levels before I do that. In the rival fight, Perf takes out Pidgeotto and Abra, but we switch to Slay for Rattata and Bulbasaur, since Perf is getting low on HP. This fight can be a killer in Nuzlockes with an ill-timed crit. We un-Cronenberg Bill and return back to Cerulean City to grab the Dig TM from the Rocket Grunt. After healing at the Pokemon Center, we go to teach Dig to Slay and... not able. Oh, that's Gen 3 onwards. Live and learn, we won't make this mistake again. Perf is up to level 21 from Nugget Bridge, so let's give Misty a try. We take a tackle from her first Karate Star, but KO it with 2 Mega Punches. Starmie gets in a couple critical tackles on Perf, but we KO with consecutive mega punches, ending with our own critical hit. We get the win and the Bubble Beam TM, and can move on to getting our next Pokemon. In Gen 1, the required HMs for progression are Cut, Surf, and Strength. We've got Surf and Strength covered, but Perf and Slay can't learn Cut, so let's catch a cat with razor-sharp claws to help us out. We catch Meowth and name it Nyar. We board the SS Anne, and with my earlier attempts to teach Dig to Slay thwarted, I wanted a powerful attack, and I find the room with the Body Slam TM. And in the battle right before I get the TM, Slay learns Body Slam by level up. Win-win, I suppose. I teach it to Nyar instead. Up next is the boat rival fight. Nyar takes out Pidgeotto like a good kitty, but I bring in Slay for Raticate because I'm terrified of random stab crits. Only for it to get hit by a Tail Whip. Against Kadabra, we bring back Nyar to Oko with Body Slam, then Nyar and Slay tag team Body Slams for the KO on Ivysaur and the win. We get the Cut HM, and just before leaving the ship, we go to teach it to Nyar and... well, that's gonna be a problem. Options for Cut here are limited, and I don't want to use Diglett this early into the marathon. But Sandshrew is a Blue exclusive, and it can learn Cut. I checked. And if I don't use it much, Sandslash is still open later on. We find a cute little Sandshrew, catch it, and name it Cutley. We make use of Cutley, and go right for the Vermilion Gym.
Pow! Wham! Kazap! First try!
After getting the lock on our very first attempt, we face off against Surge. We didn't skip him this time, but the fight isn't any more difficult. Slay takes down Voltorb, Pikachu, and Raichu. We win, and we get the badge and the Thunderbolt TM. While on the way to Rock Tunnel, Nyar evolved into Persian, who was really good in Gen 1, and not as great after Gen 1. Rock Tunnel itself wasn't eventful in Blue, so we move on to our Celadon shopping trip. We grab a Leaf Stone for later, and then give a child sugar drinks in exchange for TMs. We teach both Ice Beam and Rock Slide to Slay, and save Tri Attack for later. Shopping done, it's time to grab our next party member. I go into the long grass west of Celadon in search of a bird. At this point, I'm after either Spearow or Doduo, whichever comes first. And the first one we see is Doduo. We catch it and name it Helio. And right away give our two-headed bird Tri Attack. We grab the Fly HM, teach it to Helio, and put it into use to go pick up our bike after unlocking Saffron City. The next major fight is the Team Rocket Hideout Giovanni fight. Onix and Rhyhorn get beaten by Perf quite easily. Kangaskhan has potential to be an issue, but Giovanni, criminal mastermind, gets locked into Gen 1 Rage from the get-go. Perf uses the Tail Whip, then we switch to Slay to finish it off. Then we go right into Erica, the 4th gym leader. We start with Helio, and after poisoning us, Victory Bell goes down. Erica switches to Tangela, and we bring out Slay to smack it with Ice Beam. Vileplume is up last, and Slay starts the fight with an Ice Beam, but we switch back to Helio during Slay's nap time. Helio finishes the fight, and we get the badge and the Mega Drain TM. The Pokemon Tower rival fight is up, and Red isn't much of a threat now with our team. We prove to have the better bird as Helio beats Pidgeotto. We learn Drill Peck as well, which is fantastic. Gyarados is up next, so we swap to Perf to Punch. Perf beats Growlithe too, and we bring in Nyar for Kadabra and Ivysaur. While climbing the tower, Helio evolves into Dodrio. Hey, Tri Attack makes sense now. We get the flute from Mr. Fuji, and now we can access Fuchsia, and the Safari Zone, and our next Pokemon. We catch a half dozen eggs and name them Benedict. Finishing up in the Safari Zone, we get the Gold Teeth and the Surf HM. Right outside the Safari Zone, we give the Warden back his teeth, and we get the Strength HM. A quick back to Saffron City gets us the Psychic TM, and in Silphco, the Earthquake TM. Benedict evolves into Exeggutor with the Leaf Stone we bought earlier, and our team is almost complete. There's one more Pokemon I have in mind, but in order to get it, we first need to beat Koga back in Fuchsia. Benedict takes down Coughing, Muck, Coughing, and then we switch to Slay for Wheezing. We hit it hard with an Earthquake, and then it hits itself harder with Self-Destruct. Doesn't that seem familiar? Now with the ability to surf, we head over to the power plant. I really liked having Jolteon in the Red run, so we head over this way to grab a Pokemon I've never really used before, Pokemon's version of a Mimic, Electrode. We catch it, and name this speedy lightning ball Kachow. We visit a PC, and tuck Cutley in so we can withdraw Kachow. Perf is still in its awkward teenage years, but the rest of the team is looking complete. Next stop is the Cinnabar Island gym to take on Blaine. During one of the optional trainer fights, however, Perf evolves into Blastoise, who has a sprite, one of the sprites of all time. Blaine himself goes down easy with Perf taking out Growlithe, Ponyta, Rapidash, and Arcanine, all with Surfs while taking little damage. We head back on to Saffron City and the Silphco for the rival fight. Part of the reason I wanted to take on Blaine earlier was to gain some experience so we didn't get any surprises versus our rival. Our superior bird wins once again, and we bring in Kachow to take on Gyarados. Slay comes in for Growlithe, Niar for Alakazam, and we use Exeggutor for Venusaur. It's a perfect counter for it in Gen 1. Only a fool would use anything else. Our rival beaten once again, we turn our attention to Giovanni, the rematch. Slay takes out Nidorino, and we bring in Benedict to take on Kangaskhan. Despite all its rage, it wasn't a match for our tree. Rhyhorn and Nidoqueen also fall to our strategic tactic of using Psychic type in Gen 1. Seventh gym time, and another trainer who understands the power of Gen 1 Psychic types, Sabrina. Niar takes out Kadabra and Mr. Mime before we bring in Helio to take on Venomoth. Alakazam can hit hard, but Benedict more or less walls it, so we bring in our tree to fight her old man. We paralyze it with Stun Spore, and start draining health with Leech Seed while it spams Recover. We try hitting it with Psychics. I'm fishing for special drops. But eventually we switch back to Kachow and take it out with a Thunderbolt, getting us Badge 7 and what is technically a TM for a move in the game, if we're being generous. We fly back to Viridian City and face Giovanni again. I lead Niar because I thought he would lead with Dugtrio, and I wanted something fast to take it on. Instead he leads with Rhyhorn, which I should have known, but Niar's been packing Bubble Beam, so we take it out easily. Then he does send out Dugtrio, but I'm not confident in our ability to one-hit KO it, and not faint in return, so I swap to Perf, who is able to surf the remainder of Giovanni's team, taking out Dugtrio, the Nido's Queen and King, and Rhydon. 8 gym badges collected, we turn our sights to Victory Road. On the way, we have the penultimate rival fight. Kachow bolts the bird. We fight a rock rhino with a tree. Back into Kachow for Gyarados. And Perf comes in to take out Growlithe. I wanted to check Alakazam's damage on Perf, and it's a bit high, so we swap over to Benedict to paralyze and seed it, before going back to Kachow. We bring in Benedict to take out Venusaur with Psychic, and move on to some training in Victory Road. We get the whole team into the low 50s, and we're ready to take on the Elite Four. First up is Lorelei, and after setting up a light screen while Dewgong napped, Kachow defeats her entire team with Thunderbolts. Bruno is up next, and we start with Nyar, who takes out Onix and Hitmonchan with ease. Hitmonlee is the only Gen 1 fighting type that has any good fighting type moves, so we swap over to Helio to take it out with Drill Peck. We swap into Benedict for Onix number 2, and it is able to get Machamp as well, earning us the victory. Agatha is next, and while we could have just used Slay for the entire team, instead we start with Benedict, who had some trouble with confusion and sleep. We power through though, since Gengar can't really hurt us, and wake up to beat it with Psychic. We bring in Kachow against Golbat for an easy KO, and then back to Benedict for Haunter. We take some damage, but manage to come out on top. Arbok is next, so we go into Nyar and hit it with Slash. And against the final Gengar, we do the smart thing, bring in Slay, and KO with Earthquake. Last up is Lance, and we've got type coverage for days on this fight. Kachow takes out Gyarados. Slay comes in to KO Dragonair with Ice Beam, and KO Dragonair with Ice Beam. We swap to Perf for Aerodactyl and take it out with Surf, and we use Blizzard on Dragonite for the win. And with that, we've beaten the Elite Four, but we've got one last fight ahead of us. Kachow comes out first to bolt the bird one last time, and then Red sends out Alakazam. I set up a light screen to reduce the damage, and Zam gets a critical Psychic to bypass it. We bring in Nyar, who gets a critical Slash to take Zam to low health, and then one more Slash to finish it off. Rhydon is next, and we bring in Perf to hit it with the Surf for Oko. With no more Kachow, we leave Perf in to take out Gyarados with Blizzard and Strength. Perf stays in to get Arcanine with Surf. Red sends in his Venusaur as his last Pokemon, and I'm sure he's going to try to go for Solar Beam. It's the strongest grass move he knows, so I stay in, knowing I'll be safe for a turn, and I hit with Blizzard. And instead Venusaur hits with a Mega Drain. And it gets the critical, and it knocks out Perf. Made it the whole game till the final fight with 0 KOs and then 2 in this fight alone. Damn. We do then what we should have done before and bring in Benedict to finish Venusaur off with Psychic. And with that, we finished Pokemon Blue. 2 down, 37 games to go. In this run we used Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise, Nidoran Female, Nidoqueen, Meowth, Persian, Sandshrew, Doduo, Dodrio, Execute, Executor, and Electrode. Join us next time for Pokemon Yellow and the end of Gen 1. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.